AITA for straightening my daughter's hair without my wife's permission? I, male 32, have a 4-year-old daughter. Let's call her Gracie. Gracie is half black, her mother, female 31, being African American. Her mother overall handled all of Gracie's hair care and taught me how to do simple styles, but even those simple styles were difficult. My wife ended up going on a vacation with her friends to celebrate her friend's birthday, and my mother came over to visit. I hadn't done Gracie's in a few days, so it became nappy and unmanageable. When I tried to comb her hair, the comb broke. My mother said that I should get my daughter a perm so her hair would be more manageable, so I took her to a salon and got it permed. My wife got home, and when she saw her daughter, she was livid. She screamed at me and then at my mother for even suggesting that, but I think she's overreacting because it's just hair. Then she brought up our wedding. My mother had tried to get my wife to straighten her hair for the wedding, but my wife refused because she wanted her natural hair on her wedding day, so she could be as natural as possible. My mother often comments on my wife's and daughter's hair, and I agree with my mother. But now my wife's telling me that perms chemically burn and damage hair to change the texture, and that I damaged our daughter's hair. Now she's thinking of getting our daughter's hair cut so her hair can heal from the damages, but I still think she's overreacting. Besides, I don't want my daughter's hair to be cut. She looks so cute now. Am I the asshole for straightening my daughter's hair without my wife's permission, even though Gracie is my daughter too? OP is voted you're the a-hole, with many people pointing out how damaging to Gracie's hair this could be, as well as the racism in OP's word choices. Edit. I've read the comments and came to a realization about my marriage and my wife, and now I just feel horrible. My wife mentioned in passing about her childhood and was always vague about it, but after overhearing a conversation between her and my mother-in-law, I just realized how much I truly messed up. My wife is dark-skinned and tall, and she got bullied for that along with her hair. She went to a predominantly white school in Bogalusa, and that made her hate herself and her looks for a while. My God, my wording was horrible too. My wife is beautiful, and so is my daughter, and their hair isn't a problem. I'm the problem, and so is my mother. After hearing my wife's conversations about me and my mother, I realized that my mothers are a bully, and I'm just a drone/follower. My mother constantly picked on my wife, and I just stood by and blindly agreed because she's my mom. But that woman who I married is my wife, and I should have protected her from my own ignorance and my mother's ignorance. I took something she took pride in and belittled it. I was too lazy to learn and took my mother's advice. How my mother said so many cruel things that I didn't think twice until reading these comments. She'd always make sure my daughter didn't play outside when she'd go over to her house because she didn't want her to be darker like her mother, and that comment made me uncomfortable, but I took it as a weird joke. I'm cutting my mother off, and I'm going to apologize to my wife and daughter and start watching hair tutorials again. I'm also going to sign up for a hair braiding class when the pandemic has slowed down once more. God, I'm a horrible husband and father. When my wife is willing to talk to me, I won't force her. I'll apologize, and if she wants to leave me over this, it'll hurt like hell, but I'll understand. I'll just push her to the sidelines for so long, and couldn't even see it that I am an a-hole. The biggest asshole here. Edit 2. I just got off the phone with my mother. My wife listened in on the phone call. I didn't realize she was in the living room with me until she put her hand on my shoulder during the call. My mother is livid. She freaked out on me and threatened to call CPS when I told her I didn't want her coming around my wife and daughter, and refused to even try to understand what we did wrong. Then I mentioned the damage that the perm could cause to my daughter. I read a small article by a black-owned hair care company about childhood perm horror stories along with the history behind perms, and I'm just disgusted with myself and my mother said my wife was being a drama queen. When I told her my daughter might need a haircut behind this, she flipped out and said, "I won't let my granddaughter look like a bull D***." And I was mortified. She said she'd take my daughter from me and my wife and raise her the way God intended. That caused a screaming match. My wife put her hand on my shoulder in the midst of it and took the phone from home and told my mother if she comes to our home again, the police will be called. And then she hung up. I put our baby to bed, and then we talked. My daughter and wife are beautiful, and I don't understand how for the life of me I thought those horrible things. Maybe it was like that SNL sketch Diet Racism. Hearing those things from your parents and just blindly listening no matter how horrible it sounds. My wife is still mad at me. Rightfully so, but she told me she isn't leaving me over this. She said I have a lot to learn, and that if I want this relationship to last, I need to open my eyes and realize that the world I live in is different from the one she lives in, and different from the world our daughter will live in. I'm horrified at myself and horrified at my mother. My father called a few moments ago, but I ignored the call. I'll talk to him in the morning about this. Thank you all for talking some sense into me, and I thank my wife for staying with me even though she doesn't have to. Tomorrow we are asking our baby girl if she wants a haircut. Knowing her she'll want to get one like her uncle. He has these cool designs shaved in a hide head. If she wants it, she can have that. She's my world, and I refuse to ever be this ignorant and harmful to her again. Final edit. My wife and I arranged for our daughter to spend the night at my mother-in-law's house, and couples therapy will be in the near future. The comment sections have certainly given me many perspectives of how horrible my words and actions are. I won't be doing any more replies or edits because this is a throwaway account. I think that's the right term for this. My mother has called the house multiple times from my sister's phone. My sister is 25 and lives for drama, so now the whole family on my mother's side is blowing up my phone with many mixed opinions, most of which are horrible. It's funny. The only family member whose opinion reflects this comment section's common consensus is the one who was disowned a few months ago. Well, actually, that's not funny. It shows how messed up my family is. Thank you all for these replies, no matter how harsh or mean they might seem. I needed this.